Make sure underneath the tree didn't get caught up on behind me. Little woodland area here. Yeah, that's got it right into the sun over there. Using the same lure, same rod, same pole, same reel, same day. Earlier, 5 minutes ago, I thought I had it recording. Instead, I managed to get a still shot. So how I repaired this rod. Well, about 2 breaks ago, I started off by using a rounded chopstick, which I cut to size and put inside the jaws of my my drill, turned into a lathe, and used a sanding block and sanded it down round until I finally got to the dimensions I was looking for. Couldn't really level off the breaks in the rod because I didn't want to make it any shorter, so it is, I just matched up the break areas so they mend together properly. And then epoxied both sides, and then epoxied again on top, let that dry, and it came back and ran thread over it and ran it around probably about 200 loops. Epoxied that and then let it dry for about 24 hours. Went fishing the next day. I was doing pretty well. I got to a pretty heavy cast where I was just really loading up and it snapped the rod. I said, oh, that's going to be it for that rod. I was wrong. I'm using it now. I had some tubular material to use, graphite, which I use in my model aircrafting. Cut the size I needed, sanded off all the debris from the repair I made on the rod, smoothed it out, put the sleeve on it, CA'd the 2 joints together, made sure they were level, parallel to each other. Once I was satisfied that was done, I sanded off the excess glue, that is. You know, when we work with CA, you know that stuff gets really hard. So it took a while to sand it down so it was smooth and level. And then the sleeve was at the right size where I could move it back and forth while it was on the rod connected. And then I just took 30-minute epoxy and epoxied the area where the break was, slid the tube over it, and then commenced pushing epoxy down inside the tube on both sides and let it dry for 24 hours. And here we are now, using that same rod. Yeah, but I'm not catching any fish though. That's not going to work for me. I think I'm going to move a little bit here to the other side of this tree that's blocking my path. And again, this is my property. We share it with about 10 other houses all around the lake. And each person has their own little section. At one time, this was open to everybody, but the overgrowth has stopped it. So you just can't walk around the lake anymore. But there's one other place that's fairly productive, and that's at the end of the lake by the spill, or the overflow area. And the fish hang around there too. I have thought about getting a kayak and going through this. I've seen them out here before, folks, using kayaks and paddle boats and whatnot. Unfortunately, the center of this lake is really shallow. It's putting it lightly. So you pretty much have to use the outskirts around the shore where it's somewhat deeper. But unfortunately, there's a lot of growth down there. I'll tilt this camera down so you can see the aquatic growth. It should show up. And that's pretty typical around the lake. About another 15 feet from where the lure just hit, there's ground and some vegetation and a branch that's caught up on it. I think it got either a fish or, can't tell, no, junk. That's it for now.